All right, good evening, everyone. Clarkson news conference for this evening. We have head coach Matt DeRozier and Savannah Harmon and Shay Tiley. So the format for tonight will be an opening statement from the head coach. Then we will do all questions for the student athletes and then questions for Coach DeRozier. So please hold your coach questions until the end, okay?
Got it.
Understood? All right. Opening statement.
Excited to be up here. I thought it was a really exciting game, back and forth. Both teams had some good chances. Both goaltenders played spectacular. It was kind of the type of game that we probably expected it to be, a low-scoring, kind of back and forth type of game, and we knew that the team that just kind of kept it simple and got the chances when they needed to was probably going to come out on top, and thankfully it was us.
Thank you. Let's open up questions for the student athletes. We have wireless microphones. Please use the wireless microphone since the news conference is being recorded. Joe.
Shay, what's this been like? I mean, 2 overtime games to start the NCAA tournament.
It's been pretty crazy, but I think we've done a really good job making sure, keeping our emotions in check, and just making sure we get the job done, keeping things simple, like Coach said, and just bearing down when we need to.
Next question. Right here in the front row.
Shay, what was that third period like where you had to face 18 shots from Ohio State?
I didn't know I had 18 shots, actually. But it's always fun getting a lot of those shots, helping keep your team in the game, and just making sure I'm doing everything in my power to keep the team in it and then let them do their thing and score goals.
Next question.
Besides, you think it's fun.
Right here, second row.
Shay, what's going through your mind at 0-0 and you're heading to overtime?
I don't really know. You just can't think too much into it. Just gotta keep your level head, and just keep doing whatever you've been doing the rest, like before in the game. So, yeah.
Next question, front row.
Savannah, you guys kept them out wide pretty spectacular, especially in that overtime. You guys really, on D, were pushing them wide. Sort of what were you guys talking about going into overtime, and what was the overall philosophy for that?
Yeah, definitely taking care of the D zone first. They've got a lot of speed, and so they're coming in, and obviously, you want to try to limit their chances, and so definitely don't want to let them get to the middle. So doing our best, take away the middle and force them outside, I think really helped our game a bit.
Next question, Joe.
Shay, 2 pipes for Ohio State. Did you process that, or just kind of how do you handle something like that, especially in a scoreless game?
I got a little nervous for a second. I mean, kind of bailed me out, so gotta thank it. But they were coming hard, so yeah, I don't even know. It was just I got pretty nervous, so I was not happy with myself at the time, but it all worked out in the end.
Next question for student athlete right here.
How much does it help having been in that overtime situation just the week before when you get into OT and your season's on the line?
I think it definitely helps. I mean, that's obviously not something you want to do, go into overtime, but I think we did it last week and all right, well, here we go again. We finished it last week, let's finish it again. So definitely helped, but didn't want to be there, but glad we had the experience under our belts to be able to finish it.
Other questions for the student athletes? Joe?
For both players, did Ohio State surprise you guys at all? I mean, they maybe didn't have the same kind of record, but just kind of the way that they battled you guys?
No, I don't think it was a surprise. We knew they were going to be a really hardworking team, driving nets hard, getting lots of shots, and they got a really good goalie too, so we knew what to expect. I think they played really well, and we played really well, so I think it was just a really good game all over.
And another question for the student athlete right here.
Savannah, how hard is it when you're in OT and you're kind of an offensive defenseman to not get too offensive and take care of the D first?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously everyone's itching. We want to be the one to get the goal, but I think something that Clarkson hockey is based upon is defense first. So I think just making sure we took care of the D zone and we knew the offense was going to come from there. So I think for me personally, it was just defense first, making sure my jobs get done. If I can help on the offense, I could, but if not, then taking care of the D side.
Any other final questions for the student athletes? All right, thank you. You can head back to the locker room. Reminder that Lauren Gable will be available outside the locker room for interviews. Thank you for understanding that change in media availability there. All right, questions for Coach DeRozier. First question. Joe?
Matt, what did you see on the goal, on just the play they made?
It all started with a good back check by Michaela Pejlova. I thought Ohio State was attacking with good speed, and she really had to dig in to get back on the back check and disrupt their play. I think they were looking to hit the late person there, and she disrupted it and turned the puck over and got it up to Elizabeth. And Lauren did a fantastic job just turning on the Jets and beating their D kind of wide, and Elizabeth, with the hands that she does, had made a spectacular play over to Lauren there for that one-timer, which was great.
Next question, second row here.
You get outshot heavily in the third period. What did you tell your team just entering overtime?
Nothing, just, get back to basics. We've been there before. We didn't really focus on the amount of shots that they had. We had our chances too, and they had their chances. And these types of situations, and when you're at the Frozen Four, that's the way it's going to be. You got four great teams here. You're going to have to weather some storms at times. The other team's probably going to have to weather some storms, and it's whoever comes out of those storms the best is probably going to be the one out on top. And third period, I think we just had to get back to basics. We talked about that going into overtime, and drawing on the experience of last weekend. We had just been there before. We knew exactly what to do and just keep calm and even keel, and we were able to do that.
Next question. Go ahead.
How much do you sense a change in your team now that going to the tournament and Frozen Four is more of a regular thing versus something unique and unexperienced before?
I don't know. That's a tough question because I think each team's been different, and I think each team's been hungry to get back there. I don't think, they don't think that it's a given every year. They know that they have to work hard, but at the same time, they're confident in who we have in the locker room, in each other, in themselves. And I think that's a big reason why we've been able to kind of get back to this point, each year. But they definitely don't take it for granted. They know that anything can happen. We just played 2 overtime games. They understand that, those games could have gone either way. So it's definitely not a given.
Any other questions for the coach? All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Once again, good evening. The Ohio State press conference tonight. Once again, the format, opening statement from head coach, then questions for the student athletes, and then questions for the head coach. So, and once again, please use a wireless microphone when you ask your questions. Go ahead. Opening statement.
Obviously not the result we wanted or what we came here for, but it does not dictate this season that these young women have had. Again, I've said this numerous times, but they've overcome adversity more than any student athlete, I think, had to. And so, you know, they played their hearts out. You know, we scored a good goal, hit 2 pipes, killed off a penalty in overtime, and just fell short. And that's unfortunate with sports, but again, doesn't dictate who they are as individuals. They grew into young women through this year, and I'm very proud of them. And they just happen to be hell of hockey players at the same time.
All right, questions for Cassidy or Jinsey? First question for the student athletes. Joe?
Cassidy, what an amazing run.
Thank you.
Shutout in the first round and then most of the night tonight. Just what kind of zone did you feel like you've been in? And then if you could, just what happened on that goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having the team I have in front of me definitely makes it easy to get in the zone when you know that no matter what, they have your back. I kind of get into a groove when you have the best defenseman in front of you and then power forwards, and you just get very comfortable with what you have out there. And the goal, I mean, nice play by them. Stuff like that happens in the game of hockey, and you know, obviously I wish I could have it back, but there's not much I can do, I guess.
Next question for student athletes. All right, hearing none, you can head back to the locker room. Thank you. All right, questions for Coach Muzzarell. First question for head coach.
Muzz, you said you thought it was a good goal. Just from your view, what happened on that play?
I saw our player box somebody out. She was stronger and bigger, and we had a nice shot from our All-American defenseman, and it was a hell of a shot, a ripper. And you know, if you were to look at that play again, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and argue anything with that, but I just thought it was a very nice shot and a very nice face-off play by our team that we executed and worked on in practice.
Next question. Front row here.
Nadine, a lot of the shots came from the outside. I mean, part of that is because that's what Clarkson does on defense, but how did you guys sort of deal with that, and what was the thought into how you were going to kind of counter that?
Yeah, you know, I don't know how many of you actually looked at the shot charts, but a lot were actually inside too. And so we had 41 shots. Our offensive zone time was more than theirs. And, you know, again, hitting 2 pipes and Jinsey making a beautiful play in the second right on Charlie Dahlquist's stick right there. And Tilly made a great save, All-American save. And I think, you know, with the style of play that Clarkson is, they like to pack it in and they sag deep. We were trying to get the puck to our points and get it on net. And so with that, you know, we just executed what we asked of them, get shots through. Tilly's used to seeing about 19 to 20 shots a game, and we put 41 on her. So she rose to the occasion, and our girls executed what we asked of them.
Other questions? Right here.
You have 18 shots in the third period, and you had to overtime. Just what are you telling your team entering the overtime period?
Told them, cash in your chips. This is why we have a dry season, you know, because you're more fit. And as you could see, as the game went on, we got stronger. And I don't think the better team won, and it's unfortunate because they played their hearts out. And so, and that's sports. But they just had to stay mentally sharp because I knew physically that they were stronger.
Other questions? Third row back here.
Yeah, Muzz, you mentioned the growth of your players and the adversity that they overcame. Do you think the culture and the talent now is at a point where you guys can contend to try to reach the Frozen Four every year now?
Well, that's why I was hired. So that's the ultimate goal. You know, I know for myself in particular, I have high standards and high goals that I put on myself, and you know, I try to push on to the athletes as well. But that's the goal, and they're hungry for that too after this loss. And you know, you try to tell these young athletes, they're 20 and some are 18 years old. We have a very young team, you know, and so you try to tell them to hold their heads high, and they're not listening to that right now, and I wouldn't either at the age of 18 and 19, so I understand that. But, you know, it doesn't dictate their whole, like I said, their whole season. So, you know, when they get back and decompress maybe as the summer goes, or when they're 25 years old or 30 years old and they have children and they look back at this season and all the records that they broke, school records that they broke, there's a lot of pride that they should have that it's just, unfortunately, the last 2 hours are clouding that right now. But they'll realize in the very near future of what they've accomplished.
Question right here in the second row.
Their top line is obviously very dangerous. What did you do to keep them off the scoreboard until that final play?
We played our game because I think that we don't have a weakness. We have a all-star goaltender and very strong defense, and we just did some video on them and on that line in particular, but I thought we did a fantastic job of shutting them down, and just we're a team that plays 200 feet. And so we didn't get nervous when, you know, Gable and Jagier and, excuse me, I don't know how to pronounce the Czech girl's name, but they played well. And I think we did a very good defensive game. And I know like they like to bring four up the ice and with speed, and we were just trying to use our defensive style of the game and poke check the puck and try to move the puck north very quickly. And so, you know, I didn't feel too much of a threat with many of their opportunities until that last one when they capitalized on it.
Any final questions?
I would just like to say congratulations to Jinsey Dunn for being an All-American. And I think she was very deserving of that. And so I just want to point that out.
Final question here.
Your team hadn't been here before, but you've had experience with this stage. What were you able to bring to them from your experiences both as a player and a coach?
You know, yeah, we have Peter, who's been in this gold medal game against Canada in 2006 in Torino, and then we have Melissa McMillan, who's been in the Frozen Four all 4 years, and I've been in, geez, I don't know, 8 or 7. And so, you know, what we were able to tell them is, again, just positive encouragement and whispering the things that they needed to hear and let them know that they deserve to be here. Because I know a lot of people doubted us and maybe not give us as much credit as deserved. And so I think that they were, you know, ready for it physically and conditioning-wise, and that's why I think we played so well in the second and third, and even in overtime, killing off that penalty. And so, just staying composed, and we had to remind ourselves of that on the bench too. When things get heated, you have to stay composed because your team is going to feel that. And before I went into the game, I had Laura Halderson, my mentor here, who started the program and at Minnesota, and she gave me that word of advice: is make sure that you stay calm, because they're going to feel your energy, and you have to make sure that you're staying razor sharp and controlling your emotions.
All right, that was the last question. Thank you very much.
Thanks.